Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Planning Board in Smithtown is now in session. Adam, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank you. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The first item on the agenda this evening, the Planning Department recommends the following items for adjournment as we have insufficient information to act upon them. Under Part 1, Item 1, number 2011-01, All Seasons Motor Lodge. Item 2, number 2012-04, Storybook Homes. Item 3, number 2012-02, Carlson Associates. Item 4, number 2009-05, FB4 Realty. Item 5, number 773, Scholar Estates. Item 6, number 288, Olivia Estates. Under Part 2, Item 7, number 2010-06, KVC Holdings. Item 8, Case 911A, Glen Hill Northern. Mr. Chairman, these are the items the Planning Department recommends for adjournment this evening.
Thank you. Is there anybody here to be heard on those items to be adjourned? Hearing none, a motion.
Motion to adjourn the items that were just read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda under Part 3, Item 9, number 839A, Deerfield Estates. The applicant requests to retroactively extend the performance bond for a period of 2 years to end on June 11, 2013, in order to obtain more time to complete construction and all necessary improvements. The applicant received conditional final approval for the 6-lot subdivision from the Planning Board on October 3, 2001. A performance bond estimate in the amount of $113,699 was approved by the board and subsequently signed by the chairman. The applicant submitted the bond monies and all related materials to the town, and the town board accepted the performance bond on June 11, 2002. When the third extension of planning board approval for this performance bond expired on June 11, 2010, planning performed an on-site inspection and found that all of the public improvements had been made with the exception of the street trees and sidewalks. On September 1st, 2010, the Planning Board approved a retroactive extension of the performance bond for a 1-year period for the applicant to complete the remaining improvements and submit the required paperwork for the release of the bond. Planning Board approval for this performance bond expired on June 11th, 2011. The Engineering Department contacted the applicant by letter dated January 25th, 2012, informing them the bond had expired and that the applicant should contact the Planning Department to make the appropriate application to the board for an extension. The applicant submitted a bond extension application to the Planning Department on April 3rd, 2013, at which time the application was distributed to all departments concerned for review. The Engineering and Highway Departments have no objection to the performance bond extension request and have determined that the bond amount is sufficient to cover all remaining improvements. The Traffic Safety Department has no comment. Planning has performed an on-site inspection of the subdivision and determined that the applicant must install the required street trees, either install the required sidewalks or make an application to the Planning Board for a waiver of sidewalks, and obtain copies of as-built surveys and a monument certification letter from the surveyor. Therefore, the Planning Department has no objection to the applicant's request. However, the board should grant the application a retroactive extension of 2 years and an additional application of 90 days to complete the remaining improvements and submit the required paperwork to begin the performance bond release process. The Planning Department offers the following resolutions for the board's consideration. Be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby approves a retroactive extension of the performance bond for the subdivision known as Deerfield Estates, number 839A, for a period of 2 years to expire on June 11, 2013. And be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby approves a 90-day extension of the performance bond for the subdivision known as Deerfield Estates, number 839A, to expire on September 11, 2013.
Thank you. Is there anyone here representing the applicant? The Deerfield Estates? No one here.
Aren't you here for Deerfield? Okay.
What was he here for?
He's here for Halleck.
He says he's for
Halleck.
Halleck.
Okay.
Which one was he here?
Okay.
Based upon the failure to appear, I move we adjourn the
Oh,
matter.
you're here for the Halleck?
Yeah,
Okay, then we
should adjourn it.
a motion to adjourn then.
Based upon the failure to appear by the applicant, I move that we adjourn the matter.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We thank you. No sense reading the second part of that, is there?
I mean,
Neither one. You
To
have
adjourn that
two.
one too.
You have two of them here, one
You're-
for the performance bond and one,
Right, number 11 is the
and
waiver.
one for the,
correct.
the waiver.
Right.
so the board will adjourn that one as well.
All right, a
Wanna take a
motion
vote
then
on
to
it?
adjourn the waiver request also for Deerfield Estates.
Are you? You're Deerfield?
Oh, you're here for Deerfield? Oh, are you here? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. We had originally adjourned you there because you'll have to wait till do we have to reread it again while he's here?
No.
Okay?
Are you
All right,
familiar
would you give your name and address, please?
I'm going to make a motion.
Over here to Mike.
Emmanuel Texera, 77 Davis Avenue, Port Jeff Station, 11776.
Okay. All right, now we've had a reading there of the first part of this application, which is the sidewalks and the trees.
The
And
performance.
there was some question about,
The performance bond,
No, performance bond.
performance bond.
it's a performance bond?
The first part was a performance bond.
Excuse me, performance bond.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend, since the board adjourned this, that the board make a motion.
Unadjourn it.
To unadjourn it, yes.
I move that we restore the matter to today's calendar for Deerfield Estates,
Second?
839A.
Right. All in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Okay, thank you. We're going to have an adjournment date?
No.
No, yours is still on there.
Oh,
You-
I'm sorry.
We had adjourned it because there was nobody here. We thought that this gentleman was.
Oh, no, I was in the wrong building, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
sir, can I have your name again?
Emmanuel
Now, you
Texera?
know what the conditions are that have been read. Are you in acceptance of those conditions?
Why don't you, Blaze, why don't you bring him up? Copy of it.
Texeira.
If they like, we can reread the resolution.
Just let him
Okay.
see.
So do you understand the performance bond issue?
Yes, I do.
Okay, any questions by the board on the performance bond issue?
Okay.
Any question by the board?
Um,
No? Hearing none, a motion for the performance bond extension.
Excuse me, Mr. DeRubius, on this, do we need two separate motions, or can I combine it into one motion?
One motion be fine.
Okay.
It
In the
should
matter,
read, it be further resolved, that's why, with the confusion.
okay. In the matter of Deerfield Estates number 839A, I move that we adopt the resolutions as read in accordance with the recommendation of the planning department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Why don't we Mr. Chairman, since the applicant's here, let's skip on down to the second public hearing.
Right, do both of his at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda under Part 3, Item 11, 839A, Deerfield Estates. The applicant requests to waive the requirement of installing 1,284 linear feet of sidewalks and 30 street trees within the subdivision known as Deerfield Estates, number 839A. The applicant received conditional final approval for the subdivision from the Planning Board on October 3rd, 2001. This application was approved for a 6-lot subdivision on a 3.9-acre parcel with frontage on New York State Route 347 and a proposed cul-de-sac extending the existing Pumpkin Road. A performance bond estimate was approved by the board, requiring the applicant to install 1,284 linear feet of sidewalks, 693 linear feet on New York State Route Route 347 and 591 linear feet on Pumpkin Road, as well as 30 street trees along Pumpkin Road. The applicant is requesting a waiver of all 1,284 linear feet of sidewalks and all 30 street trees. The engineering and highway departments have no objection to the waiver request. The traffic safety department has no comment. Planning has performed an on-site inspection of the subdivision and determined that there are no sidewalks or sidewalk issues along the existing Pumpkin Road or in the immediate vicinity of the subdivision. Therefore, the planning department has no objection to the applicant's request to waive the 591 linear feet of sidewalk along Pumpkin Road. The planning department has notified New York State Department of Transportation of the waiver request and is awaiting their recommendation regarding the remaining 693 linear feet along New York State Route 347. During the on-site inspection, planning determined that none of the 30 required street trees have been installed. While several healthy trees have been saved, the subdivision contains fewer street trees than the existing subdivisions on Pumpkin Road and the surrounding neighborhood. Due to the existing healthy trees and site conditions, the planning department found that 15 street trees could be reasonably installed in the subdivision. Therefore, the planning department objects to the applicant's request to waive the installation of 30 street trees, insofar that this is a standard design feature of all subdivisions within the town. The board may consider accepting $1,875, $125 per street tree times 15 street trees from the applicant as a payment in lieu of installing the required street trees. The funds would be added to the town street tree and sidewalk fund for the future installation of street trees along Pumpkin Road. The planning department offers the following resolutions for the board's consideration. Be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the request of Salvatore Guarnia, doing business as Portview Homes, to waive the requirement for the installation of 591 linear feet of sidewalks along Pumpkin Road within the subdivision known as Deerfield Estates, number 839A. Be it resolved that the planning board hereby denies the request of Salvatore Guarnia, doing business as Portview Homes, to waive the requirement for the installation of 30 street trees along Pumpkin Road for the subdivision known as Deerfield Estates, 839A. As an alternative, the planning board would accept a payment of $1,875, $125 times 15, to the street tree and sidewalk fund in lieu of planting the required 30 street trees along Pumpkin Road to be used for future tree plantings within the town.
Okay, now, do you understand the request for the waiver?
Yes, I
And the
do.
request from you?
Yes, I do.
And is it acceptable?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
You'd rather pay the money or plant the trees?
I pay the money.
okay.
Conditions, there's a lot of conditions there with sprinklers and homeowners installed piers and a lot of obstacles there, and trees have grown in the last 10 years, and I think it'd be easier just to give the money to the town, and I think that there's plenty of trees on the site now.
Okay. Any other questions by the board? A motion?
Oh, actually, I had a question first. I did not see the site. There are many trees there already. Have you seen it, Frank?
Well, I'll
Have you seen it?
Blaze and inspect the site, and I'll let him speak to that.
I have a picture here that will show some trees there on the site, some large trees off to the curb, if you'd like to see it. This is one view on the side, the very large trees that are right off there.
Thank you.
I think Blaze was going
Go ahead,
to
Blaze.
enlighten us a little bit.
Okay.
There are no existing planted street trees within the subdivision by the developer. This street that the subdivision was constructed on is an extension of Pumpkin Road, which is actually part of an older neighborhood that was constructed many years back within the town. Most of the streets within this neighborhood are heavily lined with street trees. When you come off the street that goes onto Pumpkin Road, which name I can't recall at the moment, you'll see that there is a very serious existing vast amount of trees. When you come onto Pumpkin Road, you notice that it's rather open looking. There are areas where you do have existing trees that were saved during the construction of the subdivision. And of course, in the one picture where the sign is posted, which I believe is at the end of the cul-de-sac, there is a wooded area at the end of the cul-de-sac. In comparison to the surrounding neighborhood, it does seem to be sparse with respect to trees.
Is anybody in the area complaining that they want more trees?
No. We haven't
Not that I'm
received any.
aware of.
I think the gentleman's willing to pay the money.
We have two questions here, though. We have the waiver of the sidewalks, and then we have the acceptance there of for the trees, so that, I think we better discuss the whole thing there as one discussion and then put the motions in afterwards, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is anybody there got any objections? This is a cul-de-sac. I don't know if anybody visited the site. I have, but I don't know if anybody else has.
I have, Mr.
I
Chairman.
have.
You have?
I've visited the site as well.
Okay. Does anybody have any objection to the waiver of the sidewalks? There's none down there now, coming all the way from Hillside Avenue, all the way down Storybrook Road, and coming around the corner on Pumpkin, and it's a dead end. That's gonna be a dead end up in there, I imagine, because there's no way to make that connection there into the other property coming in from 347.
That's correct.
So it's going to be a dead end, and I don't see any objection to the waiver of the sidewalks, but I don't want anybody on the board to think there that they don't have the right to do an on-site.
If planning is satisfied, I'm satisfied.
I'm satisfied.
I
Okay?
think in absence of sidewalks, it's consistent with the character, but I also agree that some trees on site would be consistent with the character of the area. But if nobody's objecting, no neighbors are raising questions, I don't see any reason why we can't accept the cash.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, if I may add, if we do accept the money, which we will do, is notify each of the residents in the area that there are funds available for the installation of street trees, and that we will fund them, and they could come to the office and then choose the species, and we will have them planted. Okay?
Okay.
That's a good
That
idea.
works.
Mhm.
With that, there, a motion first for the waiver of the sidewalks for Portview Homes.
In the matter of Deerfield Estates, number 839A, motion to approve the request to waive the installation of 591 linear feet of sidewalks in the subdivision according to the recommendation of the planning department.
A second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. And now on the trees.
In the matter of Deerfield Estates, number 839A, motion to approve the acceptance of a payment of $1,875 to the Street, Tree, and Sidewalk Fund according to the recommendation of the Planning Department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Okay.
We thank you there. We
Thank you.
apologize for the fact that we had to bring you back, but
That's fine, thank you. I was sorry I was late. Will I get notified in the mail? Where do I send a check? And
okay.
If you could call the office tomorrow and speak to either Alex or Blaze.
Blaze? Okay. Would you guys like this posting affidavits at all?
Yes,
Yes,
do the
please.
posting application, please.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask Frank a question?
There, go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, when you reach out to the neighbors to solicit if they want to have trees installed, do you go to all the people on Pumpkin, or is there a particular radius?
I think you just go to the new houses, right?
Well, we're going to start with the new homes, and then what we'll do is, since they're for that particular area, if we notice there's deficiencies, we'll let the new homeowners have the first crack, and then if there's money left over, we'll go down the street until we exhaust the funds.
I've sent them letters, and I'm waiting on response. We have sent them letters stating that we'd like to either plant them or give the money to the town, and we haven't gotten no response.
Thank you.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening. All right. We're back on schedule again.
Go back to that, and notify the board that there's nobody here. Okay?
He's not here for Hill?
No, he's not here for Halleck.
Okay.
Oh, this gentleman's for Halleck,
Yeah.
but he's not, are you?
My name is Shah. I'm just here to hear from you about the Smithtown Woods area. This is Halleck Woods, Smithtown. I'm just owner of the property, and somebody put the sign at my property.
You're the
that-
homeowner?
Yeah, I'm just a homeowner.
Okay.
I'm not requesting anything. I'm just here to what's going to happen.
Oh, he put the sign on your property?
Somebody put sign on my property.
Nothing's going to happen tonight.
Nothing's gonna
Nothing
happen.
Nothing.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I got you, okay.
But he doesn't know why it's even there.
Do you want to explain what's going on?
Okay, the applicant who built your home
Sure.
and built the home next to you has requested several things before this board. One is to have a waiver request, I believe, for the sidewalks, to install sidewalks in the area. And second, they need to extend what is called a performance bond, which is it's a cash guarantee that certain improvements are done. And what has happened is that the board has a policy that the applicant must appear in person, and he's not here.
It's not here today.
So the board does not hear these cases unless the applicant shows up.
Okay.
If you are wish to find out more about this matter, you may come to my office, which is the planning department. The address is on the bottom of the agenda,
Sure.
and speak to one of these two gentlemen here.
Okay.
Or you could come to the next meeting if he shows up, and we're going to hear it again.
Okay.
Okay?
I understood everything.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Mr. Chairman, insofar as there's no applicant, Planning Department is recommending adjournment on both Halleck matters, starting with the performance bond extension under line 10 and on the waiver request under line 12.
Okay. Any questions by the board? A motion there to adjourn the Halleck Woods performance bond extension and the Halleck Woods sidewalk waiver.
Want to do two separate motions?
You want two
You
separate
could-
motions?
No, you could do them both at
All right.
once.
In the matter of Halleck Woods, number 726A, concerning both the performance bond extension request and the waiver request for the sidewalks, I move that due to the failure of the applicant to appear, that we adjourn the matter.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
So if the board is adjourning matter, it's a procedural question, so they can do whatever procedure they want. If they're going to vote on it, however, they have to vote separately because it's two separate legal matters.
Frank, do you reach out to the applicant to let them know that their failure to appear resulted in an adjournment?
They were informed by telephone this afternoon.
All right, we have the next item is the minutes here for May the 15th. I need a motion, the approval.
I move that we
Adoption.
adopt the minutes of May 15, 2013.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Okay.
And now the letter concerning Paul and Laura Sitkowski. Has everybody got a copy of the letter?
Yes.
Yep.
And we have a request there in the agenda. Have you read the, does that have to be read into the agenda for the meeting, or do you want to just,
No, I could, well, briefly explain it to you. The applicant currently is kind of concerned because their driveway, and we responded to them, by the way, their driveway will be like on, what they consider to be on an angle because of the way their driveway comes to the road when the new cul-de-sac is built. What I believe Blaze responded,
I did.
Alex responded to the applicant in a letter and basically said that we're at a point now where we could redesign their driveway apron to make it 90 degrees to that, their driveway, so that they could pull in 90 degrees, and it'll be, if they prefer, they'll have to pull in 90 degrees and then make a slight turn when they go in their driveway. Those are the two ways that we could do it at this particular point. So we think that the cul-de-sac is conventional in design. Their driveway was the one that was put on an angle to the road. It was very clear which direction the road was going into.
is that
So-
road going to be extended
No.
eventually?
No.
But as Alex clearly
But
wrote-
Alex
wrote
there
back,
has
you
written an opinion here that,
you can't appeal these types of things.
That's correct. Well, we are trying to help them in the way
Okay.
that we can. The driveway is, the curb is going to be extended at that particular location. So
well,
now,
why don't we do it on-site then?
if you would,
And consider your recommendation and then make a decision at the next meeting.
But is there even an application?
Yeah, there is an application.
no,
but
they
it's
can't
not-
make, No,
It's not a design application.
No, the board, subdivision is under construction. There's no application that is currently before the board. What we can do is ask the engineering, which we have, ask the engineering department to relocate their driveway if the applicant wants the apron of their driveway relocated, because they don't want it to come in. It's coming in like at an angle like this, and we want to make it straight. And we can do that at this particular point during the construction. If the board wishes to inspect it so that you can ask the engineering department to do that, that's certainly your prerogative. I can't.
Well, I think that that's probably, that let them submit a plan of what they want to do, or what you recommend that they do, if anything, and then we'll do there in an on-site in the meantime.
If that's what the board wants, we could.
Board members?
Frank? There is one other option, Mr. Chairman. When the subdivision was approved, it was approved with a town spec cul-de-sac, which is a 60-foot radius right-of-way and 50-foot radius of asphalt, which means that cul-de-sac, when constructed, would have a 100-foot diameter. The applicant, Larry Flynn, who is the owner of the subdivision, has the option of speaking with the superintendent of highways and finding out if he would be willing to accept a smaller radius on the cul-de-sac and coming back before the board and making a request to redesign the size of the cul-de-sac.
How would
And-
that help the driveway, though?
Well, it would help the driveway because by reducing the radius, it wouldn't be cutting into their driveway apron. And secondly, it would definitely benefit Larry Flynn because it would cost him less money to construct the cul-de-sac.
How long is this street?
It's only about
Altogether,
200 feet.
Yeah.
What?
It's only about 200 feet.
How is a plow going to turn around to plow that street? You know, in the wintertime, do they know what that problem is there for the highway department?
Well, they're doing it right now with a very substandard
Oh, I
shaped
see.
cul-de-sac. So I would think
I
that
got you.
if they redesign it into a standard shaped cul-de-sac, even if they reduce the radius,
Okay.
you know, it certainly would work better than what they have now.
All right, what's the board, any questions from the board, what we should do on this? Or how you want to handle it? You want to do it on-site, or do you want to make a recommendation there that they come in with a plan for the planning department? Whatever they've,
Well, if the board wants to do an on-site inspection, I certainly would recommend that. I will contact the applicant and see what options they wish to proceed.
And you'll get
At this
back to us.
particular point, I think their only real objection is the angle of their driveway, which we can handle. And I think the simpler, because the other way, we're going to have to get the highway superintendent to agree to a smaller cul-de-sac, and then there's going to have to be a redesign, a new approval. You know, let's try the simpler approach first and see if that works.
Okay.
So my understanding is that the homeowners, the Sikowskis, they don't actually have to submit a plan. It's what's existing there when the builder is doing it, so they don't even have to come before us and do anything.
No,
It's a matter of their
The builder.
redesign, the builder, so for the other,
Yeah, but there were several public hearings on this, and I mean, there was an opportunity at that time to speak. I don't want to, you know, to say that they've lost their chance at this point, but this is not a secret. This was a heavily discussed cul-de-sac because what happens, if you recall, we had an issue of whether or not to connect those two streets. And there was also a sidewalk issue that we later got rid of that was connected to the two streets. So there was at least 4 or 5 public hearings on this particular matter. So now I think what they're objecting to is they're seeing which way the street is being extended. And I'm not saying they don't have a right to complain at this point, but there is not really an appeal at this particular
But
point.
you think you can fix it?
But we think we could solve at least one of their problems that they have. And let me see what I can do with them, and I'll report back to the board. It will be fine.
That
That's
sounds
fine.
good.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
so we'll adjourn it until you come back with a recommendation.
Yes.
A motion to adjourn.
What's that?
I
It's
don't
not
think we
a
need
public-
to-
it's
Request,
just
do
a
we have to
letter.
do that?
No.
You don't have to
All
adjourn
right.
it. I'll report back to the board.
A motion to adjourn the meeting then.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Did you-